Jurisdiction. I was standing on that the whole time, you know, challenging it.
Islam, Morris.
Islam.
Let's get ourselves started up.
White power.
White power.
My brother Ash is going to mess you guys up today.
It's all good. We love questions. We love questions. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through His holy prophet. Noble Drew Ali. Ashe. Islam.
Somebody had this guy between CDs.
Oh no, it's probably just let's go.
I think some person just went short.
Oh yeah? Well, you guys think Allah was playing February the 1st.
It's crazy. That's what I was saying.
It's real. Drew Ali called it. Drew Ali called it.
Yes, he did.
The warm weather is going to be in the north.
That's what's up.
What's the classical today, Moore?
Today's back to basics.
That's a good one for a new brother.
Back to basics, number 18. Back to basics 18. Holy Quran and mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood.
And the mystery of the
Silent Brotherhood. So we'll start with our letters to be read every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitating speeches while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There has been much confusion caused by members trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings toward the Prophet, we have to close that in a little bit. You have to do it. Not fully, but just...
I picked up on the telepathy.
Yeah. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet, and if they lose confidence in their prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The Prophet is sending out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting their Prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the Prophet through the will of Allah to redeem His people from their sinful ways. Noble Drew Ali. Islam. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Islam. These are the instructions from your Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds, that you will sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and His judgment is now on, but the weak comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to His divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali. And that is why many hearts have turned to stone, and many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet Noble Drew Ali. To be proclaimed in every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works which I have performed in the last few years. Islam. So today we're gonna look into some chapters in the Holy Quran, as well as the mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood, because we realize that right now, just like Noble Jawadi was saying, the times right now are very trying, and a lot of people are facing all types of different adversity right now, and the realization of these things that we're facing is based on us not taking what Noble Jawadi presented. You know, we're 100 years behind what he presented, and then instead of people trying to catch up to 100 years, they want to be where they're at and keep going forward without even considering what was already brought to them to help them clear up their situations, whatever it is that they're dealing with. When we go to the divine warning by the prophet, and we put this in relation to a lot of other so-called leaders or whatever, there's statements in here that he made that you're not going to hear from other people who consider themselves, you know, for the people, help the people, assist the people get out of whatever it is that they're getting out.
You mean like Farrakhan?
Farrakhan
Sorry.
and you know, all the so-called black leaders, any black leader, right? Any leader that continues to push civil rights, go march and lay down the street or whatever like that. Any leader that's telling people that, you know, there's some God that's gonna come do something for them or whatever. Any individual that's pushing the idea that you need these Moorish papers and this Moorish card in order to be a Moor and all that stuff, all those things are part of enslaving people, right? What Noble Jawadi ordered the Moors to do is to study, and when you finish studying and you want to know some more stuff, study yourself. And then you should study yourself 3 times, just like the study prior to that, right? And we understand that the information is of such a high frequency that it's going to vibrate with people in a certain way that is going to get them excited to go headstrong out there and start putting it, but you don't want to do that because we are under occupation, right? What we see going on out there isn't real, right? There's really an illusion going on out there, right? The illusionary perspective is that, you know, there's governments out there and people out there spending money and societal things, when all that stuff is an illusion, right? And in order to recognize the illusion, you're gonna have to accept certain truths that get presented, right? Just like, you know, red pill, blue pill. There ain't no blue pill option It's a red pill or perish right now. You don't have a choice like the movie, well, I don't really want to know the truth, so I'm going to take the blue pill. That's not where it's at right now. Either you're going to accept the truth or you're going to go down when everything out there goes down. It's just that simple. And the only truth that was presented to our people, as far as Asiatics in America, is the truth about their nationality and birthrights. Right? Everything else has been a lie to them. That has them in the situation where they are right now, where, you know, they got water crisis in Detroit, right? Listening to these crazy people about put fluoride in the water and stuff like that, and whatever else that they say. Use these type of pipes instead of using these pipes that ancient people used that didn't get rusted and stuff like that. Because there were pipes and stuff like that in Spain with the Moors. They didn't have no water problems back then. So what happened in the transition, right? People straying away from the principles, the things that were supposed to be taught, that they weren't taught, and then people just took a passive position of, well, you know, if it's not taught, oh well, and then now they're suffering, and then they're complaining about it when they should really be stringing up some people who's been lying to them for this whole time. So in the divine warning by the prophet, he tells the Moors and the nations of the world, I love my people and I desire their unity and mine back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national and constitutional laws of their government by clinging names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other American citizens alike. Now also too, to stress on the point that not everybody wearing turbans and fezzes, not everybody that says that they're Moors, not everybody who lives, who exercises from a place called Moor Science Temple is your brother. A lot of our own people are against our people getting this information in the right perspective.
Like calling ourselves Muslims, and there's other Muslims out here that's a whole different mindset.
Right.
Of the religion aspect of it, and then the knowledge access aspect of it.
So like the brothers that were here last week from Iraq that are Muslim, when we tell them that we're not Muslim, we're Sufi, that takes them into a whole different mindset as to what we're about. Because even Muslims know that Sufism predates what we see today as Islam. That people go around the cube and kiss stones and all that stuff. It predates that by thousands of years. Because the concept of Sufism is metaphysical. It's mystic. It's not some dogmatized religion where you have a holy book and you have a holy person that you go to, and then you have to wear a certain thing, and if you don't wear that, then you're not Muslim or whatever like that. Sufism transcends anything that is taught as far as Islam is concerned. Yes, bro.
Then why do you call Noble Drew Ali a prophet?
Noble Drew Ali is called a prophet because if we look at
The weather?
if we look at the definition of prophet, it doesn't stop at religious connotation, like how people think. Prophet also includes somebody that's a mystic, which has nothing to do with religion. Prophet also includes somebody that's a shaman, which has nothing to do with religion. Prophet also includes somebody that's a witch doctor, that's going to go out there, pick some grass, boil it, give it to you to drink, and cure you of anything that you have, which has nothing to do with religion. But if people aren't taught that prophet has these synonyms attached to it, and then you look up all those synonyms and they're going to give you something different, prophet becomes this big all-encompassing thing, not this little p that people think is what a prophet is. So when we say Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and people immediately say, oh, I don't want nothing to do with that because that's religion, they just played themselves. Because never once did we say that he's a prophet because of some religious anything. We don't say that. That's people's assumption of what prophet is based on their lack of information, based on their just like Noble Drew Ali said, man knows not by being told. That's why man is supposed to go study so man could be what he knows. But if man doesn't be what he knows, then he's leaving everything up to interpretation based on what somebody told him. And when we talk about looking up stuff, that's why we use books opposed to going on internet and stuff like that to look things up, because there's a difference in having a dictionary called unabridged, which is going to let you know the etymology of the word, the origin of the word, the part of speech of the word, and then looking up something on the internet that's just going to tell you, prophet, and then it's going to tell you something, and then people are just going to go with that, not knowing that if they go to a book, they're going to get a way deeper meaning than they would get if they just listen to somebody or take it from a perspective that, you got it there?
Yeah.
Prophet.
Prophet. Prophet is a noun. First definition: a person who seeks by divine inspiration or as the interpreter through whom a divinity expresses his will. A predictor. Second definition: a predictor.
Okay, well, go back to the first definition again.
A person who speaks by divine inspiration or as the interpreter through whom a divinity expresses his will.
All right, so now when we...
Where's that coming from, by the way? Sorry to interrupt.
It's coming by the American Heritage Dictionary of the English Language.
Divine inspiration. So where's he getting this inspiration? That's divine.
Yeah, the divine is the higher force.
What's the higher force?
The higher force could be nature. The higher force could be just like I said, a shaman that takes a particular plant, mushroom, drinks a certain thing, and now he can talk to plants, birds, animals, any living thing that's going to talk back to him, because every living thing is bound to accord to the higher force. Once it's living, it's bound to the higher force. So we can't say that divine is only, something called God and that's it. Lessons are divine. Water is divine. Fire is divine. If you know how to put some sticks together and make fire, trust me, that's divine. Because that's not supposed to be something that you just do like that, right? If that's why Bruce Lee said, "Be like water," because water is divine. Water can quench your thirst. Water can drown you. Water can destroy a dam. Water can drip, 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 drip on this ceiling until it creates a hole. Drip, drip, drip on this concrete until it creates a hole. Drip, drip, drip under the concrete, create a sinkhole and eat the whole of Eglinton. Just water. If we're going to say that that's not divine, then our perspective of divine is not where it's supposed to be. Omar.
And then I think the further part to the divine inspiration part speaks to what are the lessons and the teachings that this person espouses. So if, for example, he's telling you about freedom, about love, and about those things, then that's divine too. Those are the principles. So when a man comes and walks, talks, and does those things, then he can become a prophet because he is a manifestation of the divine. So it also comes from his works. And that's what makes the average man different from what differentiates an average man from a prophet are the works that he does, as well as the fact that the words that he speaks all have truth to them. And it's proven that every word that he speaks has a truth to it, makes him a prophet as well.
Yeah, that goes into the second definition.
Right, and so for example, in the 1920s, Noble Drew Ali said to Moors that one day, the warm weather is going to be in the north and the cold weather is going to be in the south. A few years ago, we saw icicles on oranges in Florida. And then today we have 5 degrees outside in Canada in January 31st. February 1st.
It's supposed to be
Right?
deep freeze.
Now it's supposed to be minus 40 right now up here. Ain't nobody supposed to be in no t-shirts and stuff like that out here right now. So if he said that back then, and then that thing manifested, then that means that he prophesied. Whether we 8 degrees, whether we accept that as prophecy or not, that's up to us. But we can't say that he didn't say something back then, because in the 1930s or whatever, we know that up here had snow because we got internet. We can go check the weather patterns of back then to realize that there was no hot weather in the north back then, where up here had no snow. Like there's no record of no snow being up here during January, February, or whatever like that during the 1930s. And I checked. That's how I know that I trust what this man said. I trust that he's a prophet, because he said some stuff that 100 years ago they're manifesting, which lets me know that he more than likely he knew what he was talking about, and he had some type of divine intervention that made him express the things that he expressed. And it was for us to accept what he was said and realize that, okay, he's speaking from a divine place. Let's follow this individual instead of following all these clowns who profess to be holy and prophets and connected to God or whatever like that, but all they're doing is just making their pockets bigger, and while the community gets poorer and poorer. Omar, and then Talassi and Kenta.
And then the last part that we understand is that the prophets, i.e. Jesus, and Muhammad came to peoples who were in trouble. And that is another, I think, function of the prophets, to come and lead the lost out of the wilderness. And then you have to look to what they tell you in those things. And what he told us is that we're not black, we're not colored, and we're not Negro. And all of us to a man growing up have been called all those names. All of us to a man have taken those identities on as if they were ours. All of us now have been given the knowledge to understand that all of those things were part of the program. And what Noble Drew Ali did came to take the veil off of that and to tell you that that was all of the sorcery that they've done. So that's the next part to it, that we then understand that prophets come also to lead you and to show you the truth. And that's what makes him, and if you can quote or show me one other person out of all of these so-called leaders who were telling us this, then we can maybe question that.
Just one.
Just one.
Just one.
And I'm from the 60s. And I'm telling you, I never seen this weather until now. I mean, being in North America here
Right.
on this side.
Brother Kenta.
No, something that just came to my mind, because you made reference to the words divine, like in your experience or your opinion, like how do you define divinity? Like from your research and your like.
I made reference to the word divine in the text of the
Right. So in your interpretation, like how do you
because he says divine, something like a being, a supernatural
Outside.
being or something like that is what you said, right? Something that's outside.
Higher force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because even by him saying that, just knowing who goes, like just knowing who a lot of the guys are in here, when they say stuff like that, the reference is also inside also. We know, like everyone in here knows that divinity truly comes from inside. And then we see it on the outside, the interpretation. So I was just curious as to how you saw it as far as, because another thing that Cujo said was, you know, when people hear divine or Islam or whatever, they think, oh, I don't want nothing to do with that religion, but not realizing that the word religion means to realign yourself with what is pure and what is true. So just by the fact that people say, no, I don't want any religion, they're literally saying, okay, well, I'm good with the dogma. I just want to stay with, you know what, the rules and regulations of the company, as opposed to going outside. When I say outside, outside of the company and truly going within oneself and then seeing it manifest on the outside. Because when we look at divinity, like, you got to think of things such as intuition. And women, like our mothers, are very, very intuitive, to the point when my mom would say things to me and I would go against it, always, always, always on point.
And that's one of the things I was thinking about when he was talking just now. To say, okay, so then is my grandmother then a prophet? Because she prophesies a lot of things, right? But does that mean that she was actually a prophet? Or is the fact that her experiences that she lived,
Or was she prophesizing?
She could see that this would happen based on what she experienced.
Right, so
That's a big question. Not to cut you guys off, but just based on what you said, even Jesus, Yahshua, and I think even the prophet says, we can do everything that they're doing and more. So yeah, your grandmother, she was that and more, and maybe the same as Jesus and all the other prophets out there. So it's within all of us. Yeah,
Just to interrupt for half a second there, brother. What some of the studying, and this is when you get into this true sciences, what they start to tell you is that you keep thinking that the older a person gets, sort of the less they know to a certain extent, though within a lot of dynamics, a lot of us go to our elders to sort of to get that ancient wisdom. What we know in our culture is that the older they are, the wiser are, and the closer their connection is to the actual divine. So that your grandmother, the older she was, the more she was speaking directly right from
the
very
source.
cause of the cause. So, and some of the studying and some of the DVDs you said expound on that kind of stuff. So what you were, your grandmother was a vessel, but she was also the feminine vessel, which was the creator of everything. She was a manifestation of the earth. There's Mother Earth and your mother grandmother. She was like the offspring of the mother.
And she was in tune. But I like to say something I didn't really ever tell anybody here except Cujo. Now,
I don't
you,
know, do we, I mean, like, I don't know what's going on here, bro. You're all right.
go ahead, make the boss, let's go, boss.
You and Cujo can have that secret.
Now you think I'm joking, why did it get so hard? That's what I'm trying to tell you. So, it got hard in here. This I remember how you were. Now, this is even before Morris knowledge, like I told you, brother. This is way before Morris knowledge, where a tree spoke to me, but it didn't speak to me like you're hearing my voice right now. It was telepathy. And it talked to me about love, and it made me weep. You see? Now you want to talk about divine? It's an experience that you must experience yourself. Sometimes we don't listen to it or don't feel it. It's a feeling.
It is happening all the time, whether we are
aware of it or not.
Or not, and sometimes it speaks louder and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
Well, it's hard to recognize. Just like it got hot in here. That could have been divine energy. Well, it's not really the heat that it turned up.
It was the spirit that was turned up. The frequency started to vibrate at a higher level.
Well, see, now, not taking nothing away from nobody again, but we're going to get back on track. Now, spirit just means breath. There was nothing swept through here, but the energy itself, whatever happened, made him take off his coat, made you open the door, everybody got all happy, said he's going to say something. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, but I'm just saying I had a few experiences. That was one of them. That's before even Morris knowledge. But you know why that is? I never been tamed. They could never program me. In school, just like a young fellow like that, my mother said, please do what they tell you to do. And I looked at my mother, I said, I can't, Mom. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened through these experiences of life, but it brought me to Morris knowledge, and I found these brothers.
Right.
But go ahead, brothers. I just wanted to get that off my chest.
Yeah, we got that defined.
Back to basics.
That's the holy one right
You thought I just did that stuff at work, didn't you?
Back to basics.
Second definition, a prophet, a predictor or soothsayer. Third, the chief spokesman of a movement or cause.
Alright? The chief spokesman of a movement or a cause. So this is known as the divine and national movement for the Moors. And Noble Drew Ali is the chief spokesman of this. According to definition, that makes him a prophet. And we're not even talking about anything religious or nothing like that. You know what I mean?
Just the last thing too, that one of the things within our culture and our movement that we talk about are that words are multidimensional. So for example, orange is a color, it's a fruit, and it's an energy, let's say as an example. So divine, and that's where when you talk about divine, what will happen is, and what some of us are suffering, brother, is the fact that they have conditioned us and programmed us to only take the meanings that they want you to appreciate, because those words are spells. And so when you look at divine, you start seeing divine for what you think divine may have been, as an example, when divine is the leader of a
Right. Of a movement, right.
a movement.
Right.
I just want to say one more thing.
Open the door, just escape.
No. But when you have these divine moments,
Yeah.
which a lot of us have, but some of us say, I want to say the F word, the king,
Divine.
F the king, right? But when they have these energies, people think they're crazy. And then sometimes now, when somebody activates on these things, they'll try to give them, saying they got psychosis, try to give you some chemicals, you know, to try to shut you down.
ADHD and all that stuff,
They're doing it to the younger people now. Now, I know if I was growing up, they would have had me try to put me on Ritalin, but I would have said to them, my father doesn't know about this. My mother might have said, yeah, give it to him. He's on the walls. And I would have just told my father don't know about it, so that would have shut it down. But these days, the parents are saying, yeah, I think you're right. I think we better put Susie or Bobby on this Ritalin and slow their ass down. And then if they don't do it at that time and they get older, then they're saying they got psychosis, schizophrenia, paranoia, and all these different things.
Madhouse, they need to go to the madhouse.
And then they start playing this game on them to shut them down, so they don't. Here's my brother. So they don't so they don't come up with anything more that's the universe is trying to tell us to come up with, speak through us.
And speaking on that, not coming up with anything else. Once you don't acknowledge that like how you recognize that, well, my grandma prophesied stuff. Well, if you didn't acknowledge that, then you calcify yourself. And then you don't acknowledge yourself as divine, you calcify yourself more. And then you don't recognize that he's divine because, you know, he came and he said something that, you know, his mom told him when he was his age. But he said it. Right? But then they're not going to look at him as, well, you know, how you know that? Where do you get that from or whatever like that? Because just like the grandmother, he's closer to the source. He's still young. He's not, just like Talai said, he's not tamed yet.
Tainted.
The truth and falsehood isn't strangely mixed in him yet. He's still close to the source. So certain things that might be said might not necessarily be from him. It might be him tapping into some things that he doesn't know what he's tapping into, but you know, I just had to tell you, Dad, that, you know, you gotta go over to the whatever there, go under the thing and then go check my mom said that when I was where you get that from? It's recognizing that there's divine, and once we allow the divine to come in, then we open ourselves more to the universe to let more stuff come in, because it's just like they say, you know, you have to give in order to receive. You can't put your hands out with stuff in your hands. You're not going to get nothing. You have to let go of the stuff that you got in order to be able to receive something. You could keep your hand closed and try to get something, but then you got stuff on your arm, stuff over your neck or whatever like that. You might not get as much stuff as you want if you just let go of some of the things. And this is what we as a people have to do. This is what Noble Drew Ali came for us to do, to let go of the baggage that is bogging us down, that's keeping us heavy, right? The things that are are not allowing us to be open to the universe, so that we can be given instructions in order for us to be able to live on the earth plane in peace, harmony, love, truth, peace, and whatever like that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's an experience I have. I don't know what to determine it. At my shop one day, the guy was sweeping the premises, so the car is parked, and I moved one of my cars. I park it across this way,
Yeah.
so he could sweep my spot. Then when I park it there and I walk back inside, something tells me there's gonna be an accident. This is not on the street, this is in the complex. It's impossible to have an accident. This is the complex. It's not gonna happen. But something tells me there's gonna be an accident. Go move your car. I go back outside. I saw one car over there with a light on. And truck driver came out, going into his car, asking me about that car with the light. I told him I see it since morning like that. He get on his phone, he went in the car. As soon as the guy finished sweep, and I'm going back into my car to put my car back in the spot. As soon as I parked my car and I came out of my car, turn around, I see a car coming up. The guy's looking at me, this one is on the phone telling the other one about the light, boom, there's an accident. I walk over to them and I told them what they did wrong, and then let's walk away.
Right.
Just like that.
Right.
I parked the car and something said, there's gonna be an accident. But I didn't ask why, because it's
Yeah.
impossible to be in this
Right.
driveway. This is a driveway. This
But
is not the
something,
road. Yeah. Something.
right? Something gave you the goosebumps to say,
Right. And I
let me
could
just
move my-
move. Let me
yeah,
just
move my
listen
car.
to the right?
Right.
And then that's all part of the whole thing. We're gonna go to get a couple more of those, and then I know you had something too with the couple more. Was it done? Were you done? Oh yeah, because we did the leader of a movement or
Leader
whatever.
of a movement,
Right,
yeah.
right,
Then the rest just basically reiterates that a prophet is someone who speaks beforehand.
Right. Yeah, Amari.
Well, we're going to talk about in terms of prophecies, and now, remember, this was back in the 1920s, early 20s. So, the prophet had made a prophecy saying that Chicago and Detroit must go down for what they have done to I, your prophet. Now, at that time, most of us know that Detroit, Chicago, Boston, New York, all those particular cities were booming. There were lots of Moors there, quote unquote black people, and like they were running stuff. Now, as you can see what's happened in particular Detroit right now. So the prophet made a prophecy basically saying that one day grass is going to grow up in Detroit. I don't know who've ever been to Detroit in the past 5 years, but you know, where there were once businesses and houses in Detroit, Michigan, there is grass growing in those locations now. Now, the city of Detroit has gone down, and where there were businesses during the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, they are grassy fields now. If that's not a prophecy, I don't know what is.
Oh, it's abandoned. Half of Detroit's abandoned.
Half,
Yeah.
at least 90%
Yeah.
of the city. So it's like, I mean, New York could have had its same fate.
Everywhere could have had that same fate.
Anywhere.
Why hasn't it manifested like that?
Yeah. Like Detroit and
New York
Chicago.
economy
Those.
wasn't built the way Detroit economy.
Feel free.
Sorry, say that again?
The economy of Detroit
Mhm.
cannot be compared to the economy of New York.
What about back then?
What about back then?
Because they were on the same playing field back then.
If not more, because that's Detroit was where all the
Yeah.
cars were produced. All the major car manufacturers came out of Detroit.
Yeah, but the manufacturing happened there, but the finances was in New York.
Oh, there was a lot of finance. There was more finance companies in Detroit at that time than there were in New York.
Don't forget
They were
Detroit.
all
Was,
based on that specific economy. Hence the reason why Canada is in the position that we're on right now, because our economy is based on oil production,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if the value of the oil is down,
Mm-hmm.
look at the amount of people that's coming out from out west right now. We're coming here because there's no more work out there.
Okay, but what is the economy of Toronto based on?
Manufacturing?
Toronto,
Toronto right now
Yes.
is construction.
construction.
Right now, the major is construction.
So let's look at 1988, 1989. What was it based on then?
I don't know. I wasn't here.
Okay. At that time, there was a huge recession in those days. I don't know who remembers.
I remember.
But it was based on manufacturing as well.
Mhm.
And like my parents, they're still complaining about it because like 90% of all the factories that you would see downtown, right now you see a lot of condominiums, but there used to be like factories galore downtown,
Yeah.
all gone. In the state of why the economy went down, it did, but it was able to sustain itself. So when we're talking about divine, we're talking about an external power in terms of what was happening in Detroit at that time. Because remember, car manufacturers are still around. GM is still around. Ford is still around. Chrysler is still around. They're still huge. Like for instance, Detroit is still the headquarters for those particular places.
Yeah. But where most of those cars actually manufactured?
Okay,
They
so
went to cheaper locations.
why is that though?
Because they went to cheaper locations where they could maximize their profits.
No, that's fine. But the same thing with Toronto.
Yeah.
Like Toronto, there's no manufacturing in Toronto.
Okay, but so what's the point you're trying to make?
No. What I'm saying in regards to what happened back then, in what there was when the prophet said that for Chicago and Detroit, for what they've done to the prophet order was they arrested him down there. He was in prison at the time down there, right? Now, over time, Detroit didn't have to be where Detroit is.
I understand that, but
Yeah.
you know what? That statement that you just made there is loaded. Because that can happen to anybody, anything.
Absolutely.
Like he can
Absolutely.
get arrested right now.
It could, but it has- but it
Absolutely.
hasn't
He
though.
can
That's
say,
the thing.
well, you know, because of what you did, your family's going to suffer
Yeah.
from that.
No,
And then
okay,
something happens,
for
so
instance,
does
let's
that
use
mean
another
God
city.
prophesied it?
No, but okay, but this is what I'm saying though. He said it.
Who else said it?
He said it.
Nobody else said
I'm,
it.
I'm not saying. Okay, I'm not saying that. Okay, I'm not saying that. This is what I am not saying is that somebody else could have said it and forecasted. Like for instance, back in 2008, there was this one gentleman stating that the economy is going to go down. The recession is going to happen. Nobody listened to this guy.
Yeah, because if you study that,
Exactly.
right? And
Exactly.
If you study
Yeah.
the market, you know
Yes.
that there is good. Just like
Yes.
the housing market right now.
Yes.
You know, eventually there's going to be a correction.
Yes.
We don't know when, but we know it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Exactly.
So if somebody says that, does that mean that person is a?
But see, that's what I'm
You
saying.
know what I'm saying?
Right?
Like,
No,
anybody
absolutely.
can say that. It could be more than one person. that's saying that.
Absolutely, absolutely. But what we're basically like coming around to is in regards to the timing of it.
But did he say what time it was going to happen?
Yeah, in the 30s and 40s and in the 60s.
But when did it happen? When
It
did
happened in the 60s.
What happened in the 60s?
In terms of like Detroit when it went under, like for instance when they moved most of their manufacturing out of Detroit, when most of the people were destitute, nobody had any jobs or anything in the 60s. Like this was before he knew anything mostly about manufacturing.
Right? So
You ever spent any time in Detroit?
Yes,
You spent time in Detroit,
Yes.
right? So you know that the actual people who did business and made money in the city of Detroit, none of them lived in Detroit.
yes they did.
They all lived on the outskirts.
No,
Everybody.
now,
Everybody.
but this is what I'm saying. Like for instance, back in the 70s and 80s, I have family. Like for instance, my wife, for instance, has a friend that got married. She used to live up here in Toronto. She moved down to Detroit. She lives in the suburbs. Every time we would go down there, I would start to go down to Detroit, like say 87. Every year I go back, like say there's like 10 houses in the suburbs. The next year I go back, 2 is gone, 3 is gone. So for a whole strip, there's only like maybe 1 house. On like say from Eglinton, from Kiel all the way up to Caledonia, 1 house. So people just kept moving out. Why is that?
So let me ask you, what's the whole point now? Is it the point to elevate this noble duality up on a level up here?
no, he's
No,
not.
Hold on,
he's-
let me finish.
Yeah, that's
Let me finish. Or is it the point to actually use his teachings, the stuff that he left for us,
Yes,
to help move ourselves up
Yes.
to where we're at?
the second.
So then why does it seem like you're making a point to elevate this man up here.
No, it's not about elevating him.
mean-
He's already a prophet.
No,
You don't have to elevate
no,
him
no,
to.
let me answer, let me
Based on
answer.
what, like,
No,
like,
okay.
was it really necessary for you to do what you just did, though?
No, well,
You asked a question about.
you asked a
the
question
prophet.
about the like certain prophecies that he made at that time.
No, I never asked anything about any prophecies. My question was,
Okay.
What makes
why,
Why
do you refer him to as a
As a
prophet?
prophet,
Okay.
Now,
that's what
now,
that's what this is what we're showing.
Now,
Yeah.
he went into the book
Yes.
and tell me the meaning
Yes.
of the prophets.
Absolutely.
That's done.
Okay.
I fully understand now
No, no.
why he answered my question,
Yes.
right? But now you're taking it to another level.
Explain.
Just what I said,
Mhm.
right? Because he answered the question already by giving me the definition.
Okay, maybe
of what-
because I
of what
came
prophecy
after
prophet means.
the topic started, so that's probably why.
Okay.
I probably came after. I wasn't in the beginning, so I probably didn't get it.
Right?
Fully.
Like, I wasn't attacking the man.
Okay.
My
All right.
question
All
was,
right.
why
Okay.
do you refer to him as a prophet?
All right,
He
then
went into that,
then I misunderstood.
and it was done.
Okay.
We're moving on now.
Okay, I misunderstood.
Yeah, he just went into
because
the
he wasn't
meeting and
here.
all of that.
Yeah, I wasn't here. That's
wasn't here.
I just
Okay.
brought up
Alright.
particular prophecies.
Simple.
Yeah.
What you also have to realize too
Sorry.
is that we're all in this class and we're all looking for the same information.
Yeah.
But this is also being live streamed on YouTube, so there might be people who might have had the same question that you had,
Yeah.
but weren't able to access the understanding of him being a prophet as quickly as you did.
Yes.
So what we do when we answer questions, we answer it for you, but we also answer for the people who are online,
Yeah.
the 20 or 30 people who are online, who might also have the exact same question and might want more clarification for why he's a prophet and what you probably necessarily need. Maybe people online might also want a little bit more clarification. So
Yeah.
we don't answer
That's
just
why
directly you.
Yes.
We answer for everybody as a whole
So
as a
whole-
class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It's
So back to the divine warning. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused, imprisoned, or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by name and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issues and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro deludes in Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word color deludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy fathers and thy mothers, your days will be lengthened upon the earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizens of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth you are recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by the said national government in which they live. The 14th and 15th Amendment brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners, who were at the same time without power, with the constitutional body of power. And at this time, 1865, the free national constitutional law that was enforced since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since that constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendment for the salvation of our people and citizens. So there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statements. Then the lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in this land. In those days, the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come, because the great God of the universe is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people, and this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, diseases, etc. So, saying that to say that the people have been warned that they should take into consideration the lessons that were laid down by Noble Drew Ali, and that if they chose not to adhere to the lessons, then the worst is yet to come. And the sin, which is the works of these individuals not adhering to the lessons, is going to have to be removed from the planet if you want to save the planet. So it's either you're going to have earthquakes and then have these corrupt people here, or we're going to eliminate the corrupt people in order so that we can have some peace on earth. And clearly, when we look at what's going on in the world, the corrupt people are still here, and the worst is barreling down on everybody right now. Which again is why we're going to go into the divine instructions that Noble Drew Ali laid down in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple and the Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East, known as the Red Book. Because things were laid down in order for us not to be in this situation. And for us to get out of what is going on, we should probably consider some of what Noble Drew Ali laid down for us since back then, because we haven't considered it. We haven't even took him serious. Like when we're talking with regard to the things of with Detroit, it's the Temple of Islam, i.e. Nation of Islam, was founded in Detroit in 1930. But all those individuals who were part of that were members of the Moorish Science Temple prior to 1930. And for them not sticking to the program that they were taught by Noble Drew Ali is, for me personally, why they're getting what they're getting right now. Because they had the information, and instead of dealing with what was given to them, they chose to chase after the false prophets or the scapegoats. They chose to chase after the people who were put in positions of power to make sure that the people stay Negro, black, colored, and all these so-called labels that Noble Drew Ali said, if you're using these names, you're casting yourself into slavery. We look at Chicago, murder capital of the U.S. They got killings there, 30 a week and stuff like that, right? Same thing. Biggest mosque that they have is Nation of Islam. Same guys pushing the black BS and doing nothing. Why? Because having these people call themselves black, Negro, colored, and names that allude to slavery is really putting spells on yourself to allow the universe, the ancestors, to actually deny the people salvation. And remember that these people know that they were supposed to stick to a particular program. They know that they were supposed to be teaching them about their nationality and birthrights, right? You're gonna hear you know, people make reference to North America as wilderness. Well, if it's such wilderness, why are you staying here? Why don't you go somewhere where there's not wilderness? But if they're not going to do that, they're going to stay here and continue to push this idea to keep the people in mental, spiritual, emotional, financial, and any other servitude in order for them to get their little cut. So if we go to the chapter in the Holy Quran, Holy Instructions of Unity. The gifts of the understanding are the treasures of Allah, and He appointed everyone his portion in what measure seems good unto himself. Hath He endowed thee with wisdom? Hath He enlightened thy mind with knowledge of truth? Communicate it to the ignorant for their instruction. Communicate it to the wise for thine own improvement. So once we have information as individuals with the light, with the knowledge, we're supposed to communicate it to our people who don't have the information. The pattern has been to like we're dealing with right now, people selling this information to people. People going to people in their lowest social position and seeing them in that low position, knowing that they're in a low position, for example, got some court case or whatever like that, and using the fact that they got some court case for them to get onto this information, which defeats the purpose of even giving them the information. Because we're supposed to communicate this information to the ignorant for their instruction. It's supposed to be presented to them so they can say, oh, this is information, and then go out and study it, check it out, don't believe nothing that we're saying, go research it and prove it wrong. And I guarantee that in people with ignorance taking this information and trying to prove it wrong, they would gain enlightenment. That's the formula. You give it to them so they can go and do something with it. But not only that, also communicate it to the wise. So if we have this information, we're supposed to be finding the people who are on our mindset or higher and building with them. Because in us taking this information to people who have more information than us, that would allow us to even get more information. Because the wise man is the one that is going to actually school us onto what we're lacking. Because I was talking with a brother yesterday, and we came to the conclusion that we think that we're bad as Negro black color people, but as Moors we got more problems as Moors than we do as Negro black color people. Because this is a place that we've never been before, and we're trying to do things with this wealth of knowledge that it's not supposed to be it's not supposed to be used other than for our refinement. It's not supposed to be used for us to, like it talks about, it's not supposed to be used for us to puff our chests out that we got some knowledge and those people don't have it, so you know what I mean, people should follow us or whatever. We have the higher information so that we can give it to those who don't have it. And those who don't have it, if they don't want it, then that's on them. They can't say that they weren't told. If they do have it, then it's supposed to be us building on where we're going to go next, based on the fact that we both have this information. True wisdom is less presuming than folly. These wise men doubteth often, and changeth his mind. The fool is obstinate, and doubteth not. He knoweth all things but his own ignorance. The pride of emptiness is an abomination, and to talk much is the foolishness of folly. Nevertheless, it is the part of wisdom to hear with patience their impertinence, and to pity their absurdity. Yet, be not puffed up in thy own conceit, neither boast of superior understanding. The clearest human knowledge is but blindness and folly. The wise man feeleth his imperfections and is humbled. He laboureth in vain for his own approbation. But the fool peepeth in the shallow stream of his own mind, and is pleased with the pebbles which he see at the bottom. He bringeth them up, and showeth them as pearls, and with the appease of his brethren delighteth himself. So again, it goes back to the same thing with these people that have this information. And they think that they have this information that, you know, they're high and mighty, that they can do whatever they want. They don't have to follow the protocol. They don't have to listen to the prophet. They don't have to read their Quran. They don't have to, you know, follow the literature. Oh, well, you know, certain people aren't teaching how to do this and how to do that and how to do that. Well, all the stuff that wants to be presented cannot be taught until you fully recognize for yourself what Allah in man is. What is spirit man? What is holy breath? You can't claim to have superior knowledge and want to present the superior knowledge when the individual themselves is in mental slavery. And again, Moors have a big job of cleaning up themselves that they have to do. Because we have an obligation not only to ourselves, right, but we have an obligation to the higher force to make sure that, we honor our foremothers and forefathers, or the worst is yet to come. And we're already seeing the worst coming. So it shouldn't even be anything to think about that, okay, well, we got to do stuff properly. We need to do stuff right. We have individuals out here that choose to sell this information. There's individuals out here that choose to say that, Cujo doesn't know what he's talking about, so we're going to go all the way to different states or whatever and find Moors over there and have those Moors teach us. And then those Moors are telling the Moors that are here, well, why don't you guys just go to Cujo? Like, he's been through the Adab chamber and all that stuff. He's the Grand Sheik of a temple. Why are you coming all the way over here? Right? And these individuals are still going to take the position of do what they want, not come here to square themselves up. And when you start hearing that oh, I can get you out of whatever like that, or all you need is this card, or all you need is these papers or whatever like that, know that people are trying to play you. Know that people are trying to get in your pockets because they assume that they have the right information. But you ask them Noble Drew Ali's birthday, they don't know it. You ask them, what's these points right here mean on the star? They don't know. Why is the star green? They don't know. But they're going to tell you about bonds. They're going to tell you about get accounts and authenticate birth certificates or whatever like that. They don't even know what certificate means. They don't even have a law dictionary. But they're taking the position of they have superior knowledge and they can teach people. And that when we sanction people, that it's a personal attack against them. No, we know that these people are folly. That's why we sanction. That's why we expel. That's why we suspend. Because we recognize that people are taking this information as a way to live, opposed to nigga get a job. You can't sell this information to your people because you're creating a disservice. You're creating a black eye on the Moorish movement, even though it's not really a black eye on the Moorish movement. If the movement recognizes what they have, that's why we say study, 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 so everybody knows what it is that this is about. That's why we have administration functions, so that everybody could read it and they can know the Grand Sheik's job is this. So as soon as I'm not doing my job, you can say, oh, Kudro, you're not doing your job. The thing right here says that you're supposed to whatever. Oh, secretary, you're not doing your job because the administration functions book right here says that you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. Right? Because Drew Ali said that he took away all the secrets. So who are we to keep secrets if Noble Drew Ali said that there's no secrets? There's Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood of the East, which is the second part of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple. That prior to 20 years ago, this book was secretly just among the adepts only in the Moorish Science Temple. Nobody else had access to this information that's in this book, when this book is supposed to be for everybody to have so that they can be adept. Because again, this is the people's movement. This doesn't belong to the people who say that they're heads. So when we go into the lessons of the Mysteries of the Silent Brotherhood, for example, Yahshua passes the third brotherhood test, faith. The Logos waited 7 days and then was taken to the Hall of Fame, a chamber rich in furnishings and lighted up with gold and silver lamps. Now this is information that's not supposed to be amongst the people, according to the adepts of this information, right? Same reason why, like we talk about the worst being yet to come, because the people weren't told what they got. The people weren't told everything that Noble Drew Ali gave. Again, he told the Moors, this is not a secret organization. I've taken away all the secrets. He told the Moors, don't mark your fez. Keep your fez clean just like the Prophet. And then you're going to go out there and you're going to see people with all types of stuff on their fezes and all that, right? Allah written on their stuff, crescent and moon, stars and all that, saying that they have some type of authority. When that's directly going against the Prophet. Noble Drew Ali told the Moors, the Moorish flag is a red flag with a 5-point green star. And then all these Moors are going to come out with fezes on and stuff like that, saying, oh yeah, Noble Drew Ali brought this flag, and this flag is different than this. And then people are going to run to them because, oh, they got silver with Noble Drew Ali's face on it, so we're going to follow them. Oh, they got some papers that I never heard about, so we're going to follow them. When things were laid down so that the people can be clear, a majority of people in the Moorish movement that are not sticking to the things that were laid down are definitely against Noble Drew Ali. They're against the higher forces. They're against the ancestors, and they're against the people.
Treasonous.
Right? Treasonous. Well, go ask Chinese people what they do with treasonous people. Go ask people in Pakistan, Russia, all these other nations of the world, when somebody commits treason, what they do to them. But treasonous people are still around today, saying that they're Moors. Right? And 99% of the reason that they're still around is because the people don't think that this is their stuff. They think this is something that somebody else. Noble Drew Ali told the people, this is your Moorish movement. Well, and then you're not going to listen to Prophet, and then you're complaining about your conditions. Don't complain about your conditions. Recognize that you dropped the ball. Last play, right? Pop fly, and you drop the ball. These guys score, and you're mad that you lost the championship. Well, you're mad. You dropped the ball. Just get yourself training, and next year, we're going to win something next year.
That's it. Back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board. But we can go back to the drawing board for 100 years. Because nobody wants to recognize that there's treason that's happened. In this government called Moor Science Temple of America, and in government out there, there's treason. You have a question? Or a statement?
No, just back to something you just said, right? If a Chinese commits treason against the Chinese government, does that mean that person is no longer Chinese?
That means that person is dirt.
But they committed treason, does that mean they're not Chinese?
Oh no, they're Chinese still.
No, because then how can you say a Moor that commits treason is not a Moor?
Well, hold on one second, just to answer that. What I say happens, what happens to a Chinese who commits treason is he gets killed. So he's still Chinese, but he's dead.
All right.
Yeah?
So same thing with a Moor. So he's still Moor, but he's no longer going to be walking on this plane.
Yeah.
So whatever you want to call him, and at that point,
Like
he's dead.
but
the
hold on.
fact that we did nothing.
Hold on. Who makes the law though? Who decides? In China, it's a communist government. The government says there's a dictator that makes the law. So is Noble Drew Ali a dictator? Is he a dictator? Is that what you're saying?
No, I said he's a dictator.
So then, but this guy is saying if he commits
In China.
treason, in China, if he
Yeah.
commits treason, he's dead.
Yeah.
But if,
Because
if a Moor
treasonous
commits
is somebody
treason-
who's against who goes against the national principles of the government.
Mhm.
So
But
if
then
you're
that
not
means that
going to
person no longer
uphold,
Moor.
well, not necessarily that they're no longer a Moor, but they're not on the side of righteous Moors. They're on the side of Moors that that have insidious plans to undermine this.
And maybe to expound on that, what we're saying is treason is the highest level of that. Treason being that I am looking to undermine the very
Fabric that
Fabric.
makes this cloth
And
up
that's why treason, usually the punishment for treason
is death. Anywhere you go, not just in China, anywhere you go, the punishment of treason is death. But, they're not going to put that out there because if the people realize that this is a Republican form of government where the people are really the government, not these people who claim that they're president, vice president,
Okay.
premier,
That's
whatever
fine.
like that.
Can I get a copy of those two books that you read?
So most definite. Just brother Tyler.
And why it would be treason is, once you know this, then you're purposely going against it.
Right.
Nothing in the black state not knowing.
Yeah, the difference between being ignorant and being treasonous.
Right.
If you're in the black state, you just don't know.
Because the people have the individuals who are the heads of this. They have this information. They know this. They're choosing not to tell people. Like when we talk about, there's a group of Moors
I
that.
just wanted to interrupt for a second on that one. He was asking who makes the laws. We make the laws. It's technically how it should go. And what's really happened here is they make it seem like, but what they've done to simplify things is they get you to vote for people who are then going to reflect your wishes, right? That's what government and all these voting and all that stuff is about. But what we're trying to tell you is that that process has been overthrown, so you are no longer getting a pure reflection of that process. So really, the government is made up of the people. That's not what's really going on right now. The government is made up of a set of criminals who are getting you to follow their rules, pretending that it's you who okayed that.
Right.
And then
So-
telling you that if you're looking for a higher spiritual form, then Jesus told you it was all right.
Right. So there's Moors that say that so-called Negro black colored people, in order for them to be Moors, they have to do a process called naturalization, right? And then they're going to go to divine warning by the prophet for the nations, and they're going to take excerpts from his things and have the people think that Noble Drew Ali sanctions naturalization, right? Naturalization only happens to a foreigner. Noble Drew Ali was Cherokee, which means that he was born here. So he's not foreigner here. He's from this land. So there's no need for him to naturalize because he's from this land. So they're going to excerpt and they're going to say, well, Noble Drew Ali said, if Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all American citizens. Right? What they're not going to explain to people or stress the point of is that Italians, Greeks, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are foreigners here. So they have to naturalize because they're not from here. The only way that they can be connected to government is by naturalization because they're foreign. But the indigenous Aboriginal people, all they have to do is proclaim that I'm indigenous and Aboriginal. And then now you're free. And now you start exercising as such. You have your custom, which is national headwear, that you can talk with these Moors with fezzes out here. I'm sure if you've been with Tallahassee or whatever, you've seen the reactions way different with him dealing with people than any other Joe Blow Negro black colored out here. Just based on how he presents himself to the world. They're not looking at him as nigger.
So how do I proclaim myself to the government of Canada?
First of all, by recognizing that government of Canada isn't a government, it's a private, foreign, European corporation of colonists that stole your birthright. And they're using your birthright because majority of our people have taken the position of saying Jamaican Canadian, Trinidadian Canadian, Grenadian Canadian, Afro Canadian, whatever Canadian, which means that you're part real, part corporation, which means you're a zombie.
Well, but in fact, even the names Afro and Jamaican, they're corporations too. So you're corporate.
So you're a corporation both ways, right? So like,
can we just answer the question though?
but see, if we just answer, right? Okay, so for example, okay, so how do you proclaim yourself? How you proclaim yourself is having knowledge of yourself, which is why you got those two books right there.
Right.
Which is why we got the classes, which is why we put stuff on so people can get this information here first. Because man man is mind. Man is not arms and whatever. Man is mind first. So for man to come into his true higher self, man must first recognize that he is within. Once man recognizes that he's within, then the external things are going to come naturally. So for you to say, how do I do that? It's because you don't know yet that man is mind. So you're looking at some outside thing. Okay, so what do I do? Where do I put this paper?
No.
Is it a card? Is it...
Well,
Right?
I think that's what the question was.
No, that's not what the question was.
The question...
You can argue whatever you want to argue.
Repeat the question
You can
again.
argue whatever you want to argue. But as I'm standing right here, we all live in the Corporation of Canada.
No, we don't.
So how do I live in that.
There you go.
corporation,
Now we're being specific.
Right.
Right. Now we're being specific.
Right?
Right.
So do any of you guys have any Canadian documentation on you?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You guys use OHIP?
Yeah.
So you live in that corporation too?
No, I don't, because I know how to live within contracts.
So, okay.
Because in order for you to
that-
have hope,
then-
in order for you to
so
have
then
OHIP,
that's going into my question. How do I now able to communicate with this corporation properly?
and that's what I'm saying, that in order for you to communicate with the corporate jurisdiction, you have to first be competent of yourself. You have to be competent of who you are first. If I tell you, well, what you do is just file this and send it there, then you're going to go out there, file this and there, and then when it doesn't work, you're going to blame me and say, you didn't give me the right stuff because I went to them just like you said or whatever like that, and this doesn't work.
But as of right now, you're not giving me anything. You tell me to be competent of myself, right? Is what you're saying.
Right.
Okay. Can you expand on that?
Okay, so as we've been trained that we're Negro, Black, colored people, right? We've been conditioned to think that we came from somewhere on slave ships and all that. We've been lied to about our history. Majority of our people, they haven't even heard the term Moor. And if you mention Moor to them, they're going to tell you about the suit people. Well, store to go buy clothes. That's Moors. Right? Or oh, I seen that in a movie. Or you know, you tell them Morocco and they're talking about somewhere across the Atlantic Ocean when they're in Morocco over here. That if you ask a Moroccan, they'll tell you that this is Morocco. But why do they know and we don't know? Because they have it here. Ever since they were this big. You know, you're not going to hear Chinese say they're yellow people and all that stuff.
It was taught to them.
Huh?
It was taught to them. It was passed down to them.
It was from generation to generation to generation.
Okay.
But hold on, but in 1913, Noble Drew Ali came and told our people he was sent by Allah, the higher force of the universe, to tell our people that
He was sent by whom?
by Allah.
So now you're making it into a religious thing.
Again,
Well, let's
Allah-
get
Allah-
into what religion is.
Well, you mentioned Allah, right? There's the Quran here, which I associate with the Muslim religion. So I'm a little bit confused.
All right.
Hey, can I just can I just say one thing? Oh, actually, I'll let you.
yeah, shifted.
Are you speaking from a religious point of view when you hear the word Allah?
When I hear the Quran and I hear the word Allah, it brings me to the Muslim religion.
Okay, let me ask you this. Hold on, one sec, shifter. Let me ask you this. Okay, so what do you say? What do you say when you see this then? Because both of them can't be religion. What's this say?
What do you mean?
What's this say?
Q?
This. What's this say?
Quran?
All right. So that says Quran,
Yeah.
and then what you got says Quran.
Okay.
Okay. In universal or all law, there's opposites. So if this is religion, that can't be religion.
Okay,
If you're going to relate this to religion, you can't relate that to religion too. That has to be something else. Because in the law of the universe, there's law of opposites. So if we're saying Quran, and you never hear a Muslim spell it like this. Muslims only spell it like this. And those are the religious people. Then this must have some different meaning than what this does.
Okay.
Or it's based on, just like we're saying, not having it here, that you relate these as something religious. Which is why we do this, so we can get our people
Which is what?
clear.
So, okay, so explain it to me. Do it. Do this.
So hold on.
Explain it to me and explain to me the difference between the both.
Okay, so hold on.
I'll shift right a statement and then yeah.
So you actually say the first time you heard Quran came from a religious.
Yes.
So you never heard about anything else besides religion.
The only time that I ever heard anything associated with Quran
Yeah.
is the Muslim book or Bible, the Quran. That's my knowledge.
So that means you can easily go and check the word without asking anybody. Saying, okay, well, this is from a religious, so let me find out if it has any other meaning
Yes,
besides religion.
Of course I can, but I'm here,
That's all you
so
need.
that's why
You
I'm
don't even-
asking you guys.
That answers your whole entire question, because now you know that there's something else besides religion that this word is associated with. So instead of you asking, you can go and ask yourself and go and find your own answers.
I understand this, brother.
It's easily because then you don't have to
Yeah,
ask
listen,
anyone.
don't think that we not answering the question.
You're
But-
not answering
no,
the question.
but
You're not answering the
Oh,
yeah,
let me just
but the
finish.
lessons, right? The lessons, you're gonna get it in there, and then you're gonna say, oh, that's why they didn't answer what I said or whatever.
No.
Because
Hold
when
on.
you
So then,
when you
so
get the
then
lessons,
are you doing me a disservice by actually answering my question and then imploring me to
Yeah.
to go?
yeah,
you're doing me a
super disservice if I
How
answer
you
your
figure?
question
How you
because
figure, bro?
because the
Let me show you how.
lessons.
Let me show you how.
Let me tell you.
When
Let me show you.
when you were young,
One,
when you were
one,
young,
one,
your
one,
parents said,
one at a time, one
don't
at a time,
touch the
order.
stove, otherwise you're gonna get burned. They
Here's
did
one.
you a disservice?
Here's a
Yeah, because I touched the stove anyways.
But
And
they
I
did-
got burned.
They do you a
And that's how I
disservice by telling you
learned.
that.
Yeah, because I didn't, because I touched it
You
anyways.
just said it because you did.
I touched it anyways. Even though they said don't touch it, you're gonna get burned. I still went and touched it anyways. Even though my mom said,
Don't
you know,
touch.
we're making kumar, right? Fried flour, right? Don't drop it in the pot because the oil's gonna splash up or whatever like that. Did I listen? Nah. Dropped it in the pot, burnt my whole hand the fuck up all the way up to here. As a child, right? Did me a disservice. She should have told me, don't even go near the stove.
Well, my parents told me don't touch the stove. I didn't touch the stove because I understood it was hot.
Okay, here's
Like what the hell? Like
Okay, so-
everybody's brain works differently. All our brains don't work the same
Granted.
way. So if I'm asking you a question and you're refusing to answer the
No, I'm
question,
not refusing to. I told you where the answers. I didn't refuse anything.
You didn't,
I told you.
You didn't tell me where the answer.
I told
is.
you.
Then this guy tell me where.
I
the
told
answer
you
is.
that-
Nobody
one at a
told me
time,
the
one at
answer.
a time,
Let
one
me-
at a
let me
time.
just-
Hey,
Let's
one
what
at
I
a
stated.
time.
What I stated, right,
Because it was
was
my answer.
yeah. Go ahead, Shifter.
If you don't mind, do you have any religion?
I don't have a religion.
So then if you
I'm
don't
not
have a
into
religion,
it. I'm
then you
not
shouldn't
into
associate you should not associate the word with religion.
No, because I grew up in a religious country where there's lots
That's
of
why I
religion.
asked you.
It doesn't mean that I have a religion, but I have access to this. I grew up in Trinidad. There's Muslims, there's Hindus, everybody's there. So it's something that I was familiar with. Hence my association with the word Quran and Muslims.
So can I
Yeah,
just
but
interrupt?
I was born also in an Islamic family. For the first time when I heard the word Quran,
Mm-hmm.
I had to go and do my own research, although I was within an Islamic community. I wanted to know if the word had any other meaning besides, because I took this as basically an Arabic language, which was not mine. So I wanted to know, what is Quran? And who created this Quran? And then they'll say Allah. And then who created Allah? Then now, you become the devil because you're asking questions that you should not be asking. So it's easy that, like right now, I'm not here to ask him any questions. I'm here just to listen. Whatever information I get from him, I'll go and crisscross and see what he was teaching.
Okay, but at the same time, hold on. If I ask him a question and he tells me the answer. It doesn't mean I'm just gonna take his answer as face value and leave it as it is and
Okay,
say,
but-
base my life on that. He's teaching. So if he's a teacher and he's teaching and I ask him a question, and he's not gonna answer me that question, then I see that as a problem.
No, you should write all your questions that you have, and see when it's done, then you can go after him and say, hey, this is what, it's easy, but then
But
we
come on,
interrupt
but
every
come-
minute that something is being taught, then we.
Can I respond to something there too, brother? It's one of the things you said is that a lot of the connections you've made are about the things that you've heard and been told. So in reality, you haven't questioned those things. If someone told you what Quran was and what Allah was, you never questioned that. You just took that at face value.
But I never had a reason to because that wasn't part of my life, right? But now that I put myself here to learn this, and now I'm hearing the same terms associated with this that I heard with that.
Right.
Hence the reason why I'm asking the question now.
That's
But
why.
it was never important
So
to
that's
me.
why
So
when
then
One at a time, one at a
one more
time.
thing, and that was a two-part thing. The other thing too was, we were here at the door, shoes are off, shoelaces are off. Would it be better for us, for when you put your feet into the shoes, for me to tie the shoelace? For me to, or for us to give you the instructions on how you can tie shoelaces? You see what I'm saying? Like, to me, what I sense, what Kudo is trying to do is give you the tools to continue to wear all kinds of different shoes versus just tying the shoelace for you.
What is the tools though?
What
What is the tools? He didn't give me hold on. He didn't give me the instruction on to how I can go about tying the shoelace.
Well, actually,
He didn't give it to me. He says you can go instead and read a book on how to tie a shoelace. Essentially, that's what he said.
right, so that therefore,
then-
any shoe that you come across, you then know how to tie.
Okay, listen, man. There's. Understand this. Everybody's not the same. Okay. And you know that old people have a saying that you catch more flies with honey, right? So maybe the reason why you guys are not reaching enough people is your approach. The approach that Noble Drew Ali took in 1930s. Don't necessarily think that same approach is going to work today.
But I also find it interesting that you're making comments on our approaches.
No, that's, I don't think you.
Well, isn't he?
No,
Elder,
you're taking it. You're
Well, but
taking it.
to be honest with you, to be honest, just to respond, to be honest, it seems that you're taking it the wrong way. Though.
Okay.
yeah.
I'm very empathetic with you in what you're saying because you portray that, I'm portraying that tonight. But besides that, I'm fortunate enough to not have been influenced in a British English-speaking environment. Do I speak English very well? That's not my first language. And I understand your confusion. Because one of the first things to teach you in school, what they taught me when I came to a British country, was that all vowels are silent, right? And unless English is so complex and so convoluted that when you hear a word, if you're not careful, you can be really messed up with it.
Yeah.
And when they teach you here in English, they always represent it with an object. You heard A, you hear the word A to show you apple. Now, they understand psychologically that we don't think with words, we think in pictures. When you hear words, you actually see a mental picture, right? And you're conditioned to think in a particular way. And this is done deliberately. I understood that because I've been through the experience. Now, just do me a favor, brother, write F-E-E-T. And then write F-E-A-T. Now, pronounce those two words. No, pronounce them just as, pronounce them correctly.
Feet. Feet.
Has the sound changed?
No.
For you to know the difference, you have to see the word. And are the two words the same? What does the one at the bottom mean?
Like a feet.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when you hear it, what was the word, what was the picture in their head? But that's what's happening to you right now. That's what happened to me. I hear a word and it says, okay, it's that, but then when I see it,
That's what, okay, so
and then when I put it in
you're
context,
able to eloquently bring my point across, right?
yeah, I understand.
And this is what I'm trying to explain to the brother up front and the brother in the
Yeah,
back.
that you didn't.
But they're taking it, I guess, in the
No,
sense
no,
that I'm
I
trying to
understand
attack them.
because
I'm not
I
attacking
had
them.
no
It's just that I'm confused.
But you understand what I'm
But
saying?
that's-
Yeah,
So that's
Just-
what the brother
okay,
said.
well, just in
So-
retrospect,
So you have the
basically-
other word. Okay, I'll give you another example. The word D, E, D as in the letter dog. Okay, D, double E, with a D at the end. And then you have D again, with an E, with an A. The two words in the middle are supposed to be silent. Why are you saying dead with one word and deed with the other word? Now, if I said deed and I spelled it D-E-A-D, what would I really be saying? You get me?
Yeah.
You want to do another word? You get the picture?
Yeah.
Well, that's what's happening. Right? You're hearing the word, but you're associating it with the wrong thing, like I was doing. You follow?
Yeah.
And it took me. For instance, I didn't even understand the difference between lend and borrow, because there's only one word in Dutch that you use for borrowing something, and that's the word leen, to lend, right? So you lend to or you lend from. You don't borrow from. You follow?
Yeah.
So
So
this is really
so-
confusing.
And then as you go, you get certain things. So there's a book up there called How to Study. And then How to Study is gonna give you the tools that you would need so that this stuff makes sense. And one of the tools is to make sure that you have dictionaries. Because this is really on you. When the student is ready, the master will appear. But the master is self, not the guy at the front of the class teaching.
Could I use one more word that's really
Right.
confused a lot of us?
You wanna just,
M, the word M.
hold on, it just,
What's that?
I was getting to erase the whole thing, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
The word M-I-N-D. And the word M-I-N-E. Right. Now, you have to write the word M-I-N-E again. Those are three words, right? Three different meanings. What's the first one suggest to you? Mind. M-I-N-D, that you see in the book. Right. What about the second one? What about the third one? Nope, you're wrong again.
More like a mind.
Something under the ground. Both spell the same song, all three, but three different meanings. You have to have it in context. And what we're missing here, and what you're hearing the word, but what you really should be asking, but put it in context in terms of what it really means. So without the context, you have no meaning. It's just a bunch
Just
of
a word,
letters.
just letters.
Just letters.
But I'll ask you.
Got it?
Like,
Got it? You sure? Any more examples?
Yeah, check.
it's like, okay, the Nation of Islam, they're Muslims, right?
It's okay, but
And then we're calling ourselves Muslims, but not knowing where the word Muslim comes from. But anyways, same wordplay. But go ahead.
And then I think the last thing that we have to understand, which I think the brother was expounding upon, is what the colonizer has done, or the person in control, has made sure to have you have preconceived notions
about what
of
words
what those
mean.
words mean.
Yeah.
And what he's done, masterfully so, not masterfully so, but very crudely so, is he's connected everything good, which is supposed to lead you to sort of a higher enlightenment, connected it in some way with something negative
Yeah.
or something to put you into another word. So that is why, unfortunately, with us here who have been along the path a little further, we jump fairly quickly on that.
Okay,
And-
I like, there's another word that's very common, a lot of people get messed up when they get into fights over, the word B, with B-O-R-O-U-G-H.
Moral?
Yeah. Right, and then B-O-W-U, yeah, you could, yeah, and then there's another one, but that's, yeah, you know, there's another one. Right.
I know where you're going. Don't worry. I got it.
All three words sound the same, right? You hear it, borrow. Well, you want to borrow my book from man? Why are you talking about that? Man, you say what? I tell you, and you get into argument. Right? And the all words, it's the same borrow for all three. But I'm talking about borrowing something.
Yeah.
The other guy is talking about the street. And another guy is talking about a hole in the ground. And they're all confused and they're arguing, and nobody knows what the hell they're arguing over.
The only way to separate the two is either hear the context or see
Until
the
you hear
word.
the context, then you know what they're really arguing about.
And so I think Tallahassee here has some. Go ahead.
This one last word play game. Write down evil and devil backwards.
That's another one.
No, evil.
No, evil and devil.
Oh, evil.
Backwards.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, I see.
And devil.
And then, yeah, that's another one. That's a cruel one.
That's another spell.
I want to do they all come in threes, everything.
Yeah.
All the words that mean
Actually,
different things,
Everything in threes.
they always come together.
So, and I think that's what we were all trying to get at with you, our brother, is that what we're saying is that until it's sort of like cleaning off the fog on a mirror. Until you can start to sort of clean that fog off, and there's nothing he can say to you up at the front that's sort of gonna clean that fog off instantly on everything, because it is about everything. So that's where I think what we've been trying to get at, which is what we all have to do. We all sort of have to jump in the water.
Well, I just want to intervene here. Islam means I self-law master. There is no leaders amongst us, really. I mean, we do have grand sheikhs and different positions of the governing body of the consulate.
But they do it on the incompetence of the people, the ignorance of the people.
Yeah, but at the same time, coming into Moorish knowledge, if you don't know that, we're so used to looking for so-called, what they call Jesus in the sky, or some leader guys like...
It's all a hierarchical position.
Like, what's his name? Jesse Jackson, or Al Sharpton, or some guys that are supposed to represent, look out for our best interests. But really with Moors, we must look out for our own best interests and collectively come together, share information, notes when we're studying or whatever, to get to the big picture, to take this bondage off of us that got us in this black
One other caution. A lot of times when we see words, we have to also determine whether it's a word or an acronym. Because the word there's a word we use called smart. Smart.
Yeah.
But smart is also used as an acronym.
Right. So it's KISS.
So it's KISS.
Right.
Keep it simple, stupid. Well, that's what KISS represents. So these are things you gotta watch. And so it's you're right. I'm glad you brought it up, because it really it's a point that we need to, all of us need to.
Well, that's why he's here.
Yeah.
Just to
I'm so
help
happy you brought
the
that
brother
up.
out, like what you have to realize, what we have to realize is that this is a science. Like, you are a scientist by nature. Like, so when we approach things, we have to approach it as scientists. Leave no rock unturned. Like, for instance, there's the Quran and there's the Quran. One deals with you're one of your creator, which is the Quran, circle 7, which deals with that science. And then the other one deals with a worshipful fact. Like, there's something above you, higher than you. But so as Moors, when we deal with Moorish science, we deal with being one with we are the creator. We're made in his image. So we carry that out. And one of the things is that, we're Muslims. We're MOSLEM, we're flesh and blood. That's what it alludes to, as opposed to Muslims.
But everything that they did, they pre-programmed that other stuff into you, so that whenever you heard those words, you automatically jump to the other.
Beats for what again?
Hold on. You see how wrong this stuff? Right? Had you just answered the question and said what he just said,
Which is what?
said what he just said, which is the difference between Muslim and Muslim and Quran and Quran. Had he just said that, we would have been on to a different topic.
No, but this is a good sign for us to keep going like this. This way we can learn from what just happened.
It's because of
It's a learning experience.
a lot of these classes, watching it on YouTube,
Yeah.
reading, researching,
Yes.
right? Because it's one of those things that it's a self-discovery.
Yes.
No one can make you into a master.
Nobody's making you into a master.
No, but again, it's through the process.
But if I'm asking you to explain something to me, right? Why would you not at least try to explain what it is I'm asking you to explain? And then say, okay, but you can go and do your own research to expand on that.
You see, now he did do that.
But hold on one second.
No, I'll tell you how he did do that. It's just a matter of he doesn't want to ruin the experience of you awakening. Like, I took it a step further and just gave you the answer. Now it's for you to go and take it and go back to what he said. Because there are a lot of tidbits in there that you have to pick up.
Of course.
Can I just state something too? He may have actually stunted your growth, because if you got the answer, you may then decide not to continue to look.
No.
Believe what he said.
But
we don't know that.
But then you don't know that if you don't know it would have happened the other way either. None of us know.
Well, I got
So then why is it that you're allowed to make that decision?
Okay, I got a two-part reply to that. First and foremost, the answer that we're being given right now, nobody gave it to us. Everybody in this room studied to get to that same point where we all understand, where we all get the same picture. Especially when you read the Circle 7 Quran. Like, for instance, Kojo will say a lot of things, but if you haven't read the Circle 7 Quran and you haven't read the ancients, the science of the ancient brotherhood, it's not going to click in your mind. The second part to that is the fact that we did all this, and then the brother gave you the information. What it did, it prepped your mind to be able to receive the information properly. Like the way the brother did, and he broke down the words, and he broke down how words with the same sound have many different meanings. All that information leading up to the point where Brother Kenta told you what it was, it prepped your mind, because now you're looking at it from the correct perspective. Whereas if we would have just gave you the answer, you probably would have been confusing information, because your mind wouldn't have been prepped to receive. Hold on a second. These words mean different things. Quran and Quran could mean different things. If your mind wasn't prepped for that, you wouldn't have been able to accept the information, or at least get the information in the context that it was supposed to be presented. Which is why the Prophet, if you read his oral statements, he always says study, study, study. And when you're done studying and you ask me what to study next, he says study yourselves. Because all the information that you're going to get in order to get to the answer, it has to come from internal out. It's not an external answer that you take and you put internal. The answer is internal that you then take and put external, which is the same, which ties back into the proclamation when you're asking, how do I proclaim myself to, let's say, the de facto government, Canadian government. It's one thing if someone says, oh, proclaim your nationality by saying this, but then that's an external form but if you realize, hold on a second, I'm a Moor, I'm Aboriginal and Indigenous to these lands, then you knowing that being inside you, internal, then this isn't a question of how do I show them, because it's inside you. So what you do through your ways and actions proclaims who you are. Like, for instance, to use a quick example, before I came into More Science Information, I went into the court as a straw man, and I'd have to grab a lawyer if I had any type of interaction with the so-called courts. I'd have to grab a lawyer because I didn't know who I was. Now, if I have any type of interaction with that system, and I go to court or so-called court, I go there as a Moorish American. I go there with my free national name. I go there with my own paperwork that I created myself. I'm not letting a lawyer do the work that I need to do for myself. And that's because I know who I am inside, so I know who they are. Once you realize and understand and get the concept that, yo, you are indigenous to this landmass, it then puts everything in context, because you realize that people who are so-called running this de facto government, they're foreigners. Once you have that mind state that you're a national, you're indigenous to the land, and they're foreigners, it changes your perspective on how you deal with them and how you come across to them. Because when you come across and you say,
Your language changes.
exactly, even your language changes because you start speaking instead of you. Because what they do is they'll tell you that you're a slave from Africa, so now you think you're the foreigner, and they're the ones that are supposed to be here, or they're the ones that are supposed to be running things. But when you understand that you're from here and you're indigenous to the land, you realize that they're foreigners, and the way you speak and the way you proclaim yourself and talk, everything changes, and then they can pick up on that. So you don't even necessarily need paperwork to proclaim their nationality. Just by the way you speak and you interact with them, they'll be like, okay, hold on, this person obviously knows that he's indigenous to the land. He obviously knows that he's a Moor. And it puts things in perspective. It puts them in their place and puts you back in their proper space. Now, to sum up what I'm saying is, all this information is already internal. Whether you realize it or recognize it or not, that information is already inside of you. So once you study just helps you to find the pieces of information that's inside of you for you to bring out. And I think was kind of explained and shown by us breaking down the words and showing you that our words have different meanings, and then all of a sudden your perspective changes. So when you do get the information, it makes sense to you.
Yeah, but you're missing the point. You or him did not break down the word. This gentleman here broke down the word.
Yeah, because that is his position.
You didn't do it as a class.
So how do we do
right?
it?
You have one person who's giving a lecture, right, or who's sending out the information, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I ask that person, right, and that person says, well, just go do your research. And I says, well, I'm a little bit confused here. He says, well, go do your research. It's okay. Go do my research where?
The books that you have.
Okay, but I didn't have these books.
Well, you have them now.
Yeah, I have them now.
Yeah. Saying go do your research is now
futuristic now. Understand, this gentleman here, right? This guy can be a teacher.
He is teaching.
Right? He can be a teacher.
He is teaching.
Yeah.
You see? Right? All I'm saying is, it's not necessarily the information that you present. It's how you present the information too.
Absolutely.
But keep in mind, right, that I was taught to research, right? So that's how I teach. I was taught that if somebody asks questions, you give them reference points. You don't answer anything for anybody, because if you answer, you're doing them a disservice. That's why I told you straight when you asked. So are you doing? Yeah, I'm doing you a disservice, because me telling you and you reading it for yourself is two totally different things. I know that for myself from studying, because there's things that I've been told and there's things that I went and checked myself, and the stuff that I checked for myself resonated with me more than the stuff that I was told.
Let me tell
because I checked for myself.
Let me tell you a little bit about myself.
Right.
Okay. I don't take anything that anybody tells me as at face value.
So it shouldn't be anything to go study then.
Right? No, it's not. Did I not ask for these books?
All right, so it shouldn't be anything then.
Right? That's the reason why I asked for these books. But I'm just saying, if someone is asking a question, I think we should do what we have to answer.
And second to that, with regard to questions, I tell people, if you got a question,
What do you want?
write it down, send it in the email.
To where?
To the email address that we have. You didn't have that information, but I'm putting this out there, right? So that when the question comes in, same thing. I can answer it and give reference points so that you can do your research to find what it is that you're looking for. Because I don't teach that you could ask people in here, people who I deal with all over the world, right? That I'm not just telling you what you want to know. You're going to get reference points and you're going to go study for yourself, because man knows not by being told. If man is told, then he's not knowing. He's just being told. And if you're just being, that's why, you know, like for example with school, right? I could have been A student, right? But I was C student because I got told. And I just took what I was told as what it is. Because if you're the teacher and you're telling me, then what do I gotta go research something for if you're telling me? Why should I research? You're the one that's qualified. So if you're telling me, then I'm gonna just go with what you're telling me.
You made a very
And that was an error on my part for one, listening to them, and an error on their part for not telling me. Don't think that this is it that I'm telling you, you know, because I got the qualifications of the whatever and I got the blackboard and all that stuff. You need to go check. No teacher that I know ever told me go study for myself until I came into this information in this school of thought right here. Zero. And I went from, I went to school here, I went to school in Trinidad, I went to college, and no teacher. Every teacher had me think that because they're at the front of the whatever and they got a degree or whatever like that, they're the ones that's qualified. When half those people weren't even qualified to even teach me whatever. Omar, you had something, and then
just to expound on that, that's part of their operational plan too.
Yep.
To make sure that you then just regurgitate.
Which is the priesthood type of.
So that's part of the process that they get, so that you never really step outside the box.
yes, sir. And shifter after.
That's you, bro.
Yeah, you good. Yeah.
I've been when I mentioned that how they go about teaching in English speaking people how to spell, like children, like this kid here, he goes to school and they would write, like, they'll teach you the alphabet and they'll give you A, B, C, and they'll give you A for apple. Pretty much everyone can say what B is for here. What is B for?
Bat.
Right? C for
Regurgitation. B could be for anything B.
C for what? Everybody.
Cat.
All right.
D for dog.
No, that's not what they should be teaching us. What they should be teaching us is what I'm gonna just do me a favor. Put a line on the board. A short line, not just a little line, not a long line, a little line, right? Then put a 45-degree angle to the line. At the end of the line, put a 45-degree. Then at the termination point of the angle, below at a 90-degree angle, at a 90 degrees from the apex of the 45-degree angle.
You guys go.
Put another line. No. Yeah, okay. All right. Go straight across. Go straight across. Go straight across.
You create a 90 degree.
Go straight across. Go straight across. Yeah, go straight across the line. Leave the 90-degree angle. Sorry, the 45-degree angle. Right, then go with the line straight across. A little bit longer, make it a little bit longer. All right, now erase what is below the 45-degree angle.
What's below?
Erase it. Erase it. Just erase what is below, the portion of the line that is below the 45-degree angle. Yes.
On and off switch?
Right. Now, I don't have to tell anybody in the world what that means. I mean, no confusion.
On and off switch.
It's a switch.
Yes.
Do I need to say it?
No, that's a good point.
Is there any confusion here by anybody that knows what that is?
Well, I think there could be.
You know it is. Right.
If you're an electrician, you would know.
It's a switch.
It's a switch.
Now, the thing about it, that's what English does. I said, bring me the switch. I go outside, like your mother would do, break a piece of steak, bring it in, bust your ass. That's not what I meant.
Still bring a switch.
But you'll still bring the switch. That's the conditioning. So what we need, and this is what they don't do, they need to teach us at a very early age the strong meaning of symbols. And symbols, there's no errors when you write with symbols. That's why hieroglyphics is so prevalent in the pyramids and everything. Because a symbol, there's no confusion in a symbol. But words, pardon my expression, you guys could take a little swearing here.
Ask Papa. It's just true.
You could just fuck with people's every word.
And that's what they do.
And that's what's being given to us.
I always use that word, nice.
No, I didn't even have to tell them words. I just tell them do this and do that and raise it up and right away you see what I'm talking about.
Questions?
I'm
Yeah, we're just gonna. There was a couple that we got sent. Let's check those quick fast. Okay, so question about purchasing arms. Arms. Right?
Well, I think what they need.
What's he talking about?
Right? So this is what right? The same point, right? So this is an example, right? Perfect example of why class went how it went, right? And then the stuff got broken down about words, and then all the words, and you know, which are right? Right? So now somebody comes with the question about arms. Oh, you had something, Shifter?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
No, I'm back to the word Quran.
Yeah.
Isn't that also chronology records?
Quran, yes,
Yeah.
right.
So that means even when we read the Quran itself, it's nothing but records which, if we say, since the Prophet Muhammad came, which is 2 nights ago, but the record is longer than.
Which record are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Holy Quran.
Yeah, we're done, right?
Yeah, the Quran itself.
Scratchy record. Or?
I'm talking about basically the Holy Quran itself. That, the so-called Arab is Muhammad. And Muhammad was Ahmed, but without the more you don't get to.
You don't get. Yeah.
So the word more also, it's all over the place.
Right.
So anyone that says, I've never heard this word, more, before, then it's just basically not adding up.
Right.
Because me, I
never will. Yeah.
Yeah, I follow sound, and once you follow a sound, because when you read the word, it will give you a sound.
Yeah.
You will know by the sound if it's correct or where you need to take out a couple letters out of whatever they have added up.
Right.
I'm getting hot.
Now sound deals with frequency.
Right. So you can see vibration.
When we talk about sound, it vibrates.
Well, it's the whole. Otherwise, then how can one understand? If I don't know myself, there's no way I can understand
Anything else that's going on.
So majority of us problem of not knowing who. Because you always had God, prophet, and all kinds.
Somebody to be
some
something
authority over you.
Yeah.
So if you have some authority over you, that means you're not off the limit. There is something over you. I have never had nothing over me.
Yeah.
That's why from a child I asked who God was. And they couldn't answer. So I took the position.
Yeah.
Well, this is the whole thing. If you don't take the position,
then you become.
well, this is exactly what's going on with majority of us.
Yeah.
We let somebody else take the position.
Yeah.
Even a teacher. Why would I want to have a teacher when I am a teacher myself?
Right.
So you
So if
see
you
your
allow-
own of your own company.
Well, that's the whole thing.
That's
There's
right.
nothing
I
else.
feel you.
That's why I don't like to ask questions, because then you have a conflicting issue within yourself
Within yourself.
that
Yeah.
you need to ask yourself instead of asking
Yeah.
people.
Now that's higher low self.
That's high, right.
Dialogue, right?
Which is all the lessons
Right.
that knowing our higher self, lower self, knowing that man is spirit, not the flesh.
Of that higher and the lower, are you not the medium to connect between the higher and the
Between
lower?
the both, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Isn't that where the medium now comes in as a medium to confuse you? Because you don't have that medium.
Right.
I rest my case.
So with regard to the arms question was guns or whatever arms,
Okay, yeah.
right?
You should have said firearm.
Firearm. Every time I show them my nationality card, the idiot at the store and gun show keeps refusing me because my ID is not from the state corporation. Right? So Maybe they know about the Prophet's teachings where he said don't even carry a pocket knife.
Yeah.
Is why they're not selling it to you. Maybe. Who knows? Right?
Well, we have to take the high road in this one, right?
Well, you know,
You're not supposed to have a pocket.
you're not supposed to have a pocket knife.
Knowledge is your power.
But this it comes back to, if you follow the teachings, if you listen to the teachings, you realize that you don't need no guns. And even if you have a gun, these guys have nukes. Your gun is not doing nothing against a nuke or a drone or tank or whatever else that they
Silent
got.
weapon.
If you want a gun to pose or whatever, then, you know, I mean, you know, show the state ID, reserve your rights, and go get your little firearm or whatever. But again, the lessons say, and again, if you go, you know, we're talking about Noble Drew Ali now, who laid this down already. Told the Moors. Why would he tell the Moors don't even carry a pocket knife if it wasn't important?
Correct. Inject a little humor
Yeah.
there. This whole idea about guns has been explained by a very brilliant sister of ours, Dr. What's her name? Dr. Francis. He tells you what all this gun and tank is all about. It's all, pardon my young people. It's all about, you know, the private part, you know. Who's got the little one wants to go out there and, you know, have a sword war with the private part, you know. The tank, the gun, the bomb, all of that is just about, you know.
You talk to the right people.
Yeah.
You talk to the right people. Your gun could be a candle.
Yeah.
Parchment paper.
Yeah.
Your gun could be your grandma.
Well, let me just
tapping her to go haunt some people in their dreams or whatever like that. If they're
let me just give us a little hope here, right? We have the authority to use the weather to do what
yes, we do.
And guns can't do.
Yep.
It's doing it now.
Straight up. Yep.
Right? And once we know that we harness it, we don't need that. I mean, we just you know,
use the elements.
Let them deal with that. Let them deal with a flood. Let them deal with an earthquake.
Yep.
You know, and see how they can solve that with a gun.
Yeah, with a tank or whatever.
Or a tank or whatever.
Yeah.
We have the authority, but we don't even realize it. We just go around like, you know.
Right? So, yeah, you know, I mean, if they're giving you a hard time, just like we tell people, if you got that's why there's learning to live within contracts. So that if you are in a position where these people are constantly blocking you from using your national ID or whatever, no problem. You got your little stamp, $30 to make a stamp? 35 bucks, you get a stamp, all rights reserved on it, and you stamp everything, all rights reserved. You use that name that you've been using, that you didn't have a problem using until you came in this information. All of a sudden now you don't want to use the stuff now. All of a sudden, oh my God, oh, if I use it, how am I gonna get it? But there was no issues before you came into this knowledge. The only thing that you're doing now is you're reserving your rights when you use it, because you have knowledge of how to live within contracts, and anything that you sign is a contract. And the movie people, they say all rights reserved before they put out a movie. The cassette, CD, whatever people, they say all rights reserved before they put out something. The car guys, they say all rights reserved before they put out something. Everybody reserves their rights before they put out something, so it shouldn't be anything, you know what I mean, spectacular or whatever like that. Reserve your rights, use the corporate stuff, get whatever it is that you want, but remember
Could you explain to me how to resolve your rights? I mean, I really don't know.
Can I also make a comment while you're writing it out? Also understand that in reserving your rights some places, they won't let you
reserve your rights.
Reserve your rights, and there's a reason for that, because they are abrogating your rights to begin with.
Exactly.
So there's the answer.
So be cautious to that as well, because of the fact that sometimes you need to get something. So sometimes this is about the game. The prophet said, keep doing what you're doing in your name and do all your stuff in your free name. And what really this whole movement has been about is waking us all up, so that we're all in our own communities where things are then...
Where things are... We don't have to worry about reserving our rights, because I'm going to my brother
who's not taking my rights,
trying to violate my rights. So if I want to get something, gun or whatever like that, I go to my Moorish brother, who's a gun owner, and buy it from him. Then I don't have to worry about, are they going to accept my nationality card or not. But remember that ever since 1913, we were supposed to already be in that place where we are now, where we want to do stuff and we can't do stuff. Because colonizers not letting us do this and colonizers not letting us have that. Noble Drew Ali had manufacturing companies and stuff. Moors had businesses in Chicago. Moors had fisheries in New Jersey. Moors had candy shops and all this type of stuff. Moors, Marcus Garvey was starting up the shipping and all that stuff. And what happened? Our people, not a European.
Thank you. Tell it like it is.
Islam.
Our people who look like us, undermined what these great men were doing.
And you don't want to know who those people
Oh
are.
yeah,
They're called,
treason.
They're called sellouts.
Sellouts.
They're called
Right?
black.
And then they're still around today. Still pushing their same agenda still. Keeping our people deaf, dumb, and blind to the truth about how they should be being like their ancient foremothers and forefathers. Just what Noble Drew Ali said, be your ancient foremothers and forefathers. Why is it so hard to be our ancient foremothers and forefathers? Because our own people are blocking us from doing that. Just like with the brother. He deals with construction.
But he
right?
hires his own brothers.
Hires his own people.
We are not undermining the class right now.
Europeans are questioning, oh, how come you got so much brothers working for you and all that stuff? Because they already know the nigger mentality. They know that that's an anomaly. All these Asiatics working together.
Mm-hmm. No big problem.
Oh, they're working together and all that stuff, and they're not undermining each other or whatever like that. We know what it takes. We know what we're supposed to do, but there's always these rogue elements that want to try to make our stuff not seem like it should be like that. And then the secondary to that is we're doing these things under the guise of we're black and we're Negro and we're Africans and we're whatever, when nobody else is playing that their continents and adjectives or whatever, they got free national names. But it's a process because we've been asleep the longest. Our people have been more asleep than people who still sleep.
Well, that was the original sin, that we will go back to sleep and not
remember
who we are. Because if we are the gods on the planet, how is it that we're sleeping?
We're sleeping. And we're the
that
gods.
was the original sin. It wasn't you turning from white to black skin, as they say.
Right.
But was to steal your identity, your language, your culture.
Okay.
Because I don't consider any other group being human except original people.
On the
And
global
that's
level.
like, there is no dispute, there is no...
Yeah, not even from them. Yeah, they don't even dispute.
No.
And he can speak this because he's international, coming from another
Coming
country.
from another country. Yeah, but tell us.
Okay, even though, now we all been in the black state, and we have race pride on being black for our people. Because I know I was marching up and down the street saying all kinds of foolishness, saying I was black and I'm proud. And these leader guys had me too. I want to mention Farrakhan, and I'm not taking nothing away from him.
Brown as hell.
But the thing is, even my cousins had us running around here when Tarzan was up. Angawa, means black power, white man destroy. I said it, I'm here to represent it. But now, we found our way home. Can we read Free White Person, please, before we get any further?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, after the reading Free White Person, talking about on the lines that you're talking about with the leader guys and all that stuff, can we touch on Farrakhan just for a minute? Like, what's the discrepancy with him and the family? Of him knowing, naturalized, whatever, how you ever want to kind of, because we had this conversation come in here and I just kind of wanted to hit on a few things.
Let's put this up.
About the Scientology?
No, not just Scientology, just knowing and holding back and knowing the science.
So, Nation of Islam, secondary founder, Elijah Muhammad. Before he was Elijah Muhammad, he was Elijah Poole Bey, member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, was a flag bearer. They got pictures of him holding the flag and all that stuff on our side of the information, right?
What happened?
They came into an individual by the name of Cassius Clay, who was about to be the next heavyweight champion of the world. Everybody knew that it was going to be him. It wasn't even a secret. They were just waiting for it to fight. There was also an individual by the name of Malcolm X, who at the time was about to call out Elijah Poole Bey for all the stuff that he knew with regard to moral science that he wasn't telling people. They said that they made it like it was about some, him impregnating people and stuff. That's not what was going on. Malcolm X found out.
Right?
Yeah, Malcolm X found out that all the heads of the NOI knew the information that our people aren't black people. North America is not wilderness or nothing like that. This is the vast estate of the Moors. So they got this man out the way. He went off, did his own thing. They took this individual, Cassius Clay, started him off with Cassius X, took off the Clay, his slave name and all that stuff. He was talking about it. Oh, Clay is the slave name. Don't call me Clay and all that. You know what I mean? I don't want to be known by the slave name. And then, while he was this, they wanted him to fight in the Vietnam War. And Elijah Poole Bey, who was Elijah Muhammad at the time, transitioned Cassius X and called him Muhammad Ali.
Ali.
Noble Drew Ali.
Is that an acronym or a name?
Yeah, that's an actual title. Right? Now, Elijah Poole Bey knows that this name, Ali, is exalted because Ali is one of the names, one of the 99 names of Allah. Right? And Noble Drew Ali taught that if anybody's going to get this name, they have to earn that. You don't just give this name to anybody because you want to give them a free national name. The names of the Moors, Bey, El, Bey, Al, and Ali. El, Bey, Al, Ali. They gave Muhammad Ali the name that he wasn't supposed to get. By him getting this name, he was able to not go to war. He didn't have to go to war. And then he made some statements. If you go check the speeches about him and the war, just go read the speeches about him and the war, and you'll find out what Elijah Poole Bey taught him in secret that was supposed to, sort of stay, but because of the dumb down of the people, they wouldn't pick up on the stuff that was being said anyways, so it was all good. But then later on, you find out that Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X were like this. And Muhammad Ali actually ended up leaving the Nation of Islam because of the corruption in it, and because Elijah Poole Bey put him against his best friend, who Muhammad Ali found out that these guys assassinated him, which is more reason why he left. And then now you still have these people around today talking about black people or whatever like that. Their head is Louis Farrakhan, who everybody know. If you're from Trinidad, you know that he's the charmer, calypso singer.
When you say he's from Trinidad?
Yeah.
No, he's not from Trinidad.
The charmer. Barbados?
No,
No, he's from St. Lucia.
No. His father's Jamaican, his mother's Petition. He's from St. Kitts.
Wait,
Yeah.
no.
Wherever he's from. What is that decided? He was a Calypso singer. You know that for sure.
He was Jumbie Jamboree.
Yes.
He was a Calypso singer.
He was Jumbie Jamboree.
Yes.
Right.
You remember that song?
Right.
Jumbie
Jumpy
Jamboree.
Jamboree, yeah.
He's also a
Go start
classical
dancing.
violinist.
Classical violinist, Calypso singer, just like Malachi York, R&B singer or whatever like that. And then these guys become the head, the number one of some Asiatic movement talking about liberation of the people, but they were entertainers. No different than actor becoming president.
Crazy.
You know, he just did a 2-hour interview with
Yeah, Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Yeah, that should let you know what side he's on. If he's gonna be having 2-hour interview with that guy,
With who?
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Who did it?
Farrakhan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right? So now keep in mind that this individual, again, we're talking about what it is that they keep away from the people, right? Everybody knows that he was in connection with Gaddafi, and Gaddafi gave him 5 million
That's all?
On paper.
on paper, 5 million
On
to
paper.
start up hair business or whatever like that for NOI or whatever like that. Yeah, if you ask them, they got no hair stores or nothing like that. So where's the 5 million? When he went to see Gaddafi, U.S. Corporation told him that he can't come back in the country because he's, siding with, known terrorists or whatever like that. But he's back in the country.
That's treasonous.
One, how do you get back in the country? And two, how come he's not like Jeff Fort in Supermax prison right now? Because Jeff Fort's in prison because they said that he had connection with Gaddafi.
Yeah. But he's putting it out there, they're coming after him, right?
You can put it out there, but if they're not coming after you,
And what is coming after me? They're still out there.
if you're still out there and they're coming after you, I think you're secure. I don't think anybody's coming.
They're coming.
Right? So there's the same thing that we talked about. If Italians, Greeks, English, whatever can be whatever, and then there's these Moors that say naturalize in order to be a Moor.
Isn't he also the or else guy?
Yeah. Naturalized to be a Moor. They go by the number Temple 13 is what they're affectionately known as. Temple number 13. There's documented information between Temple number 13 and the NOI that in order to get Farrakhan back into the country, he's going to have to do this process called naturalize to be a Moor. Get a nationality card and all that. And then he's back in the country and he's here, but he's still pushing that he's black and all that stuff. Which now, if Moors teach that you're not Negro black colored, as a custom, that's part of the lessons, how come they're not talking about the fact that there's this guy who's a Moor, but he's still calling people black? But they'll talk about everybody else who calls people black, but they'll never mention his name. They'll never bring him up. When he's a registered card-carrying member of this temple. And I heard this from these temple people personally. I seen the documentation between the NOI and these people. That, we're looking into this information. It sounds good. We're gonna have our NOI lawyers look at it just to make sure if this is real or whatever. Oh, okay, it's real. We're gonna go through with the process, and they went through the process, and he's still around today. And then the 5 million, nobody knows where that is. You check these guys' temples. They got the, the fully carpeted. They don't got this as their temple.
Mm.
They got fully carpeted stuff with the pews and all that stuff, you know, big building and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Everybody dressing up in there, you know, whatever, Moorish, whatever. So, you know that there's a conspiracy going on. Because the teachings, now, we could speculate that, you know, they probably pushed his buttons a little bit about, you know, the fact that he's putting this propaganda out there that our people are black people, which is what made him at Savior's Day put up Noble Drew Ali's picture finally after, you know, they were founded in 1913 or 1930, and then 2 years ago they just put up Noble Drew Ali's picture, and he just started talking about Noble Drew Ali. Oh, Noble Drew Ali's a great man and all that stuff like that.
This pressure being put on him too.
Right? So some type of pressure was put on them to put out the information.
What was that video called? Sorry for interrupting.
Savior's Day 2013.
2013
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Savior's Day 2013.
And they have the big banner with Noble Drew Ali right dead set in the center.
Nobody asked.
Right?
Yo, you know what's crazy? I watched that, but when you're in that black state of mind, you can't even recognize it.
Yeah, you're not even gonna
Because
see
I watched
that.
that personally.
You're not gonna see that.
You see the guys there, but you can't connect who he is.
Yeah.
Because they don't give you enough information to be like, okay. They just, you know, and then even when you hear him read the speech, one of the writings that Noble Drew Ali had, he left the most important part of it. When he said you guys are from Missouri, which would connect everybody back to the land, he left that out.
Yeah.
And then he went right on to the next statement.
Yeah.
It's just like, hold on a second. When you know the prophecies, you're like, hold on a second. He didn't say that. He said you're from Missouri after that. You know, so you definitely see that he's playing a game.
But that's been the pattern with our so-called leaders. Play games with our people, pacify them, so that either UDOT's corporation could have jurisdiction over them, or the people's lower self could have jurisdiction over them, and they're not even gonna find their way out of where they're at anyways. Right? And keep in mind that Jeff Fort, who's Chief Malik, was gangbanger that nationalized the gangs and started teaching them this same information that we have. That's why all those gangbangers stand on their square. That's why when you do your research on El Ruckin and Black Peastone Rangers, you see pictures of gangbangers wear fezzes on and stuff like that. You know, their logo was the Great Seal Pyramid. They had Circle 7 badges. They used to wear army fatigues and stuff like that.
Could you shed some light on the question of oh my God, Dr. Z. York Malachi and his imprisonment?
That's it. 2 hours fast.
First of all, Dr. York.
Yeah.
Dr. York is an L. He's L.
As a title, Moorish
That's a
title.
Moorish name.
Okay.
His family's Yamasee. He was also a student of Noble Drew Ali that ended up, in the end, taking a check in order to, you know, further his whatever. You know, another Reagan entertainer, becoming the head of some whatever, right? Everybody that was part of his group called Nuwapians, everybody who was part of his group, Nuwapians, you got spot right up the street or whatever, are a nation of Moors.
And don't even question that.
That's how they're identified. Nuwapian nation of Moors. So they should have Noble Drew Ali as their forerunner if they're Moors in America, because either you're either you're Washita, and then just to show you again how the spirit works, the next question was, I keep hearing about this Empress of Louisiana, but I don't know what her name is, right? So that was the Empress of the Washita, and if you just Google that, Empress of the Washita, her name will come up. Verdiashi, Gaston, LB.
That's
Right.
all French to me, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Which is a whole other thing,
Yeah.
because the family deals with the Louisiana Purchase. The Louisiana Purchase, when they claimed to own all this land or whatever like that, or bought all this land, the French bought all this land from, these so-called Asiatics, and then when they were sending them the gold, the ship sank or whatever, so the money didn't get transferred. So that means the Louisiana Purchase didn't happen, and this land is still Aboriginal indigenous land. That's why the United Nations came out and said that the Washita is the oldest indigenous nation in the Americas, gave them a UN number and all that type of stuff to prove their claim. And Dr. York and Noble Juali are tied to this family line, which is why Yamasee, Cherokee, Chippewa, all these different tribes that I say black Indians, all have the claim that we are the Aboriginal indigenous people. If you go to New Orleans, Master P talks about it, about he's with that family line, he's part of that culture or whatever like that. That's his American culture. He's not no black guy and all that, right? And all of this is to qualify or express the fact that many people know that we're not black people. But if you go check all this, if you get the Empress of Washita book, right, called Return of the Ancient Ones, all she talks about in that book is black people. But she's mortal, but all she talks about is black people in that book. Then the book is Red, Black, Green book, which going back to that Pan-African BS that Noble Juali said, don't compare the Moorish movement to the Back to Africa crap. Because we didn't come from no Africa, so we shouldn't be using anything related to that in demonstration of our indigenous culture. Right? But then remember that, her right hand whatever like that, was CIA agent. That's how they were able to get to her, to take her out. Malachi York, his son, right? He was CIA. That's why they were able to take him out, because remember that everybody who said that he raped them and all that stuff when they were children, all those people recanted their statement. So why they still got him locked up for?
That's what I'd like to know.
Yeah. Nobody knows. Majority of people say that it's because of him releasing all the Masonic information.
Because he was a member, right?
Because he was, he took the oath and he broke his oath by talking.
Why I asked the question, because before I got to speak with you guys, my own investigation of him, I found it rather odd, because I had some understanding he was a Moor, and my own investigation of it is that what is he doing in prison? Right, there's something that's screwy there.
If you watch some of his court cases, you see he has an attorney.
Who was he saying?
Yeah.
So obviously he wasn't exercising his
He wasn't
president.
fully competent.
No. And that to me was the whole letdown in the whole thing. That should not have happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then with regard to the people who are still around saying that they're Nuwapians or Nuwapian whatever, what they don't draw attention to is that when he went to court, he was wearing one of these fezzes.
Yeah.
He wasn't wearing the fez that they wear with the ankh on it and the little short style or whatever like that, patterns and all that stuff. He was wearing this, the clean and pure stuff. Why? Because he was sending a message to those people who were part of his stuff, of where the foundation is and what you need to get down with.
Yeah, but he obviously didn't teach them what they needed to know, because if they knew
He did teach them enough.
He taught them enough.
He did teach them enough, right? There's few audios that we got of him. You know, do angels come in human form?
So somebody listen.
You know, some other things, but again, if the concept is that everybody knows that the founder of Islam in America is Noble Drew Ali. That's the individual that first came to teach Asiatics in America that we're not Negro and black colored people, that we have ancient culture that goes back 50,000 years in this land that we need to tie ourselves to. Right? But people don't want to deal with that, because if they give him the credit, then they get none. They're in debt.
It's a ego thing.
It's a bank thing.
Right? Ego thing.
It's a bank
money thing. Right?
A birthright theft thing.
Majority of people who don't talk about this is because they got a check.
Islam, we're going to probably have to leave soon.
All right, yo, no worries.
Can we read Free White
Oh yeah,
Person
you got
before we
free
go?
white person?
Please and thank you.
Free white person. Black's Laws Dictionary, 4th edition. Free white persons referred to in Naturalization Acts as amended by the Act July 14, 1870, has meaning naturally given to it when first used in 1 Stat 103C, meaning all persons belonging to the European races, then commonly counted as white, and the descendants, including such descendants in other countries to which they have emerged. It includes all European Jews, more or less intermixed with peoples of Celtic, Scandinavian, Teutonic, Iberian, Latin, Greek, and Slavic descent. It includes Magyars, Lapps, Finns, and Basquiats and Albanians. It includes the mixed Latin, Celtic, Iberian, and Moorish inhabitants of Spain, Portugal, and mixed Greek, Latin, Phoenicians, and North African inhabitants of Sicily. North African inhabitants of Sicily, and the mixed Slav and Tartar inhabitants of South Russia. It does not mean Caucasian race, Aryan race, or Indo-European races, nor the mixed Indo-Europeans of Dravidian, Semitic, and Mongolian peoples who inhabit Persia. A Syrian of Asiatic birth and descent will not be entitled to become a naturalized citizen of the United States as being a free white person.
So the white people are really the dark-skinned people, and the black people are really the pale people. All right? Islam. Was there on anything else? Anybody got anything else to put up? All right, so we'll just close out. All right, Morris, we'll just close out. Face the east. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through His holy prophet. Noble Drew Ali. Islam.
White power.
White power.
White power.
Death to black power. Oh yeah, and don't forget next week we got our first Moorish History Month Skype with Grand Sheikh Nature Al Bay. So make sure you got your questions. If you got any, we'll definitely have something for you. And for the people online, there's gonna be no class, but we will be uploading the video after class.
Oh, I know. I was supposed to talk with the letter that I sent to the schools.
Oh, yeah, it's all good.
Tell that.